Okay, so what if I told you that a single handshake, just one, almost brought the entire global economy crashing down? It's a wild story for sure. We're going to break down exactly how it happened and, believe it or not, what this high stakes global drama can actually teach us about our own lives.
So, our story starts in Seoul with a guy named Mr. Park Min-jin. He's a souvenir shop owner, and he's basically betting his entire life savings on this big upcoming summit between the US and China. He's thinking their handshake is gonna print money. He's even got these custom made bobblehead dolls ready to go. What he doesn't know, though, is that the handshake he's banking on is about to turn into a knockout punch right to his dreams.
So, how did we get here? Well, it all kicked off with just one decision made in Beijing. But this wasn't just any decision. It was like a pebble dropped in a pond that caused a full-blown tsunami across the entire planet. Okay, now picture this. You're Kevin Chen, an analyst at the US Treasury, just doing your job. And then a headline flashes across your screen. You have to read it twice. In one fell swoop, China just turned the tap off on one of the world's most critical resources. They basically weaponized it. So, what are we talking about here? What is this super important resource? It's something called rare earths. And no, they're not just some shiny rocks. These things are literally the lifeblood of all modern tech. I mean, everything from the smartphone you're probably holding right now to the most advanced Tomahawk missiles, they all need rare earths to work. They're absolutely essential. And this move just perfectly highlights the massive clash in perspective, right? In Washington, they're seeing this as a straight-up act of economic warfare. China's not playing fair. But if you hop over to Beijing, a young policymaker named Li An sees it completely differently. For her, this isn't an attack. It's a necessary defensive play to protect China's own interests. Well, the White House didn't wait around. The response was fast, and man, was it brutal. They threatened to slap an additional 100% tariff on all Chinese goods. Not just a few things. We're talking everything. Now, you might think this is all just high-level politics, right? Stuff that happens in fancy rooms. But no, this fight didn't stay there. The fallout hit the ground, and it hit fast, impacting the lives of everyday people all over the world. Let's go back to Kevin in Washington. He's just watching his screen as the S&P 500 goes into a nosedive. We're talking trillions of dollars in value, just poof, evaporating into thin air. The market was in an absolute freefall. And over in Beijing, Li An is feeling this heavy sense of dread because she knows the hard truth. In this kind of economic war, nobody really wins. There are just casualties on both sides of the fight.
And what about our shop owner, Mr. Park, in Seoul? His dream is turning into an absolute nightmare. He gets a call from his supplier. The price for his bobblehead dolls, it's tripled. Just like that, overnight. He's now staring bankruptcy right in the face.
So, the whole world is basically holding its breath, teetering on the edge of a global recession. And that's when a totally different kind of battle kicks off. This one isn't fought with tariffs and tweets. It's a quiet, almost desperate, behind-the-scenes effort to pull everyone back from the brink. And the US strategy here, it's classic good cop, bad cop. You've got the president on one hand, sending out these really tough tweets and threatening more tariffs. That's the bad cop. But then you have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent playing the good cop. He's like the calm firefighter, running around trying to put out all these fires before the whole global economy goes up in smoke. So Secretary Bessent does something really smart. He goes on TV and basically signals to the world, hey, there's a way out of this. He points to the upcoming APEC summit in Seoul as the make or break deadline. It's the moment for diplomacy to actually work its magic. And then something kind of crazy happens, a small human moment right in the middle of all this chaos. Our two key players, Kevin from the US and Li An from China, run into each other completely by chance at an ice cream stand in DC. They have no idea who the other person is. They just start talking, connecting over how exhausted and stressed out they are. It's this perfect little reminder that behind all the big political moves, it's just people. All right, so all of this sets the stage for the final showdown in Seoul. The whole world is watching, just waiting to see what happens next. The moment arrives. The two most powerful leaders on the planet walk into a room and the doors close. Nobody knows what they're saying. The only clue we have is that the meeting runs way, way longer than anyone expected. And then a breakthrough. Now, this wasn't some grand peace treaty that solved everything. Think of it more like a ceasefire. The US agrees to cancel those insane 100% tariffs.
China agrees to ease up on the rare earth restrictions, and, crucially, both sides commit to keep talking. Against all odds, diplomacy actually worked. The effect was immediate. Global markets just shot through the roof. And back in Seoul, for Mr. Park, that handshake he'd been waiting for, well, it finally started printing money. His shop was flooded with tourists, all of them wanting to buy the bobbleheads that had become this unlikely symbol of hope.
Okay, so this is a great story about global politics, right? But it's actually way more than that. When you dig into it, there are some really powerful lessons here for every single one of us. Let's break down 4 key takeaways from this whole ordeal. First, what happens on the world stage absolutely affects your wallet. A single tweet can literally impact your savings. It's all connected. Second, you've got to think critically and look past the headlines. Remember, what looks like aggression to Washington was seen as self-defense in Beijing. There are always at least 2 sides. Third, be flexible. Don't be like Mr. Park and put all your eggs in one basket. That goes for your business, your investments, your career, everything. And finally, number 4, never ever underestimate the power of just talking. A real conversation can solve problems that seem completely impossible.
At the end of the day, this whole story is a huge reminder that behind all the headlines and the big political conflicts, there are just people. Real people with real lives and real states. So it kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. What's the difficult but maybe necessary handshake you need to make in your own life to resolve a conflict?